The big three. Everyone's obsessed with threes. From gold, silver, and bronze in the Olympics, to LeBron, Bosh, and Wade in the NBA, to even the Three Musketeers from Clash Royale. Being top three holds a special weight to many people. This even stands true when we look at anime. The big three is a heavily debated topic within the space. But what animes are in the big three? Why are they in the big three? What qualifies them over others? Why are other popular animes not in the big three? Well, my dear child, join me today as we dive into the birth, death, and rebirth of anime's big three. Now, to understand the big three, we of course have to start well before the concept of a big three was even spoken into existence. This is the pre-big three era. If you trace the lineage of Shonen, no matter where the trail might lie, it all leads back to one place. The story of a boy who lost his grandfather, who takes a leap of faith and leaves his home, joining a journey in search of 7 magical wish-granting orbs. As some of you have probably figured out, I am referring to Dragon Ball. Before Super Saiyans and gods, planet-destroying fights and universe-altering stakes, there was mostly hand-to-hand combat and power pulls, Nimbus and Turtle Hermits, Earth-grounded adventures and world martial arts tournaments. While of course not the first shonen ever, Dragon Ball is what popularized the manga style and first started paving the path for the future. This popularity skyrocketed even more with the release of Dragon Ball Z. Now you might be thinking, as 7-year-old me did, okay, so this is the first of the big three, right? Wrong. Despite people using this as an argument to discredit Dragon Ball's influence, Dragon Ball actually holds its place in the big three lore. Dragon Ball is seen as the father of the big three, just like you can be seen as the father of the subscribe button by hitting it, I guess. But please do subscribe, these videos take me a lot of time and I can't continue them without your support. But back to anime. All three creators of the big three anime have cited Dragon Ball and Akira Toriyama, rest in peace to the GOAT, as an influence to their own works, which I'll show you soon. Before that, however, in this pre-big three era, there is still more credit we have to give out. The story of a powerful android child who goes on a journey of self-discovery, fighting evil along the way. Astro Boy is seen as the first successful take on the shonen anime genre. It was the first successful weekly, half-hour animated series in Japan. It was also the first anime to make major moves and find success overseas. Moving along is Yu Yu Hakusho, created by Togashi, who later on went to create Hunter x Hunter. First serialized in 1990, Yu Yu Hakusho was also a major influence in things that had yet to be seen in shonen at the time. Things such as new character archetypes, including the reluctant hero protagonist. All this being said, for those of you who might get angry at me for pointing out these influences, as yes, there are people like that out there, just know influence is a great thing. Influence is also everywhere. Yeah, Dragon Ball and Dragon Ball Z influenced the big three, but DBZ itself was influenced by the story A Journey to the West. Ideas being used and spun through different mangakans' interpretations is what keeps the genre fresh and stories entertaining. Now as we move on, we get to the big three. The first of our three being One Piece. As time moved on, so did anime. Previous giants ended. In 1994, the end of Yu Yu Hakusho. In 96, the end of Dragon Ball Z. 97 came the end of Sailor Moon. Despite these closures, anime was more popular than ever in Japan and spreading more rapidly than ever through the West. It left the perfect opportunity for mangakon to get creating, and that they did. Come 1997, a young author by the name Ichiro Oda finally gets his manga picked up by the Weekly Shonen Jump. That manga? Nothing more than the story of a band of new pirates in search of the greatest treasure in the world, with the captain having a dream of becoming the king of the pirates. One Piece was a success from the start, but it didn't start its cultural dominance until later on. While popular now in the West, it took a while for it to spread. From early chapters being rated highly in Shonen Jump's reader surveys, to strong numbers in manga sales, One Piece was still successful and eventually became a staple for anime. This dominance can still be seen to this day, where in overall sales it ranks number 1 with 600 million, over double that of second place, which is insane if you think about it. This earns One Piece the first spot in what eventually will be known as the Big Three. And as we move on, we get to our second spot, that being Naruto. Now, wait. You know the only thing that is arguably cooler than a pirate? A gosh darn ninja. And nobody knew that better than Masashi Kishimoto. At just 24 years of age, Kishimoto's work started publishing in the Weekly Shonen Jump in 1999. The story of a young boy who is the runt of a ninja village. His brash personality, overwhelming self-confidence, lack of parents, and most importantly, the giant chakra beast sealed inside him, made him an outcast. Despite this, Naruto defies all odds, slowly winning the villagers over, earning respect and friendship from his peers, and protects the hidden leaf village he calls home, all while in pursuit to someday become the leader of said village, the Hokage. Naruto and Naruto Shippuden's mix of emotional storytelling, intense rivalries, and explosive battles quickly made it a hit, even faster than the likes of One Piece. From similar high rankings in reader surveys to high sales numbers, Naruto also earned a spot as one of Shonen Jump's highest successes. Despite One Piece having higher popularity in Japan, one thing Naruto did better was integrate its anime with Western audiences. Whereas One Piece had a lackluster showing with a heavily censored 4Kids adaptation, with airings on Toonami and Adult Swim, Naruto is marketed heavily as a mainstream action anime for teens. This resonated very well with their target audience and was a major reason in Naruto's success in the West. As well as its 250 million manga sales by today, this feat earns Naruto our second spot in the Big Three. Now how can you have a Big Three without a third? One Piece and Naruto were popping off. Come 2001, finally came our third of the Big Three, that being Bleach. While also being 24 years of age himself at Bleach's first publication, Taito Kubo had to face some trials on his road of getting Bleach out to the people. His original concept for Bleach was actually rejected. Zombie Powder, the original manga by Kubo, had also been cancelled. In a moment that should have been heartbreaking for the mangakon, he received words of encouragement from none other than Akira Toriyama himself, the creator of Dragon Ball. You see, Toriyama had actually read Kubo's concept for Bleach. He liked it so much, after hearing the news of its rejection, he sent Kubo a letter encouraging him to continue with the idea. As Kubo went back to work, he made some changes and Bleach finally got picked up. You see, Bleach leaned heavily into style and aesthetic. From changing of his original idea of guns, the Soul Reapers now carried large swords. They wore sleek black robes and fought in a supernatural world against spirits and monsters. Unlike the carefree adventurer that Luffy was, or the underdog chasing recognition that Naruto was, Ichigo was a reluctant hero. He had a very grounded personality, contrast to that of many shonen protagonists at the time. He also didn't ask to be put on the journey he would soon pursue. Bleach's darker tone helped it appeal to a new audience and different manga fans. Whereas Bleach was doing well, it exploded in popularity during the Soul Society arc, which introduced a lot of popular characters, abilities, and weapons. Alongside a successful anime adaptation that came in 2004, Bleach skyrocketed in its popularity. Bleach's 130 million manga sales by 2026 puts it in the top 15 for manga sales all time and helps it round out this Big Three. Now with our introductions to the three out of the way, we enter an era of dominance for the Big Three, implied by the name. Despite other popular anime and manga, the sheer dominance of these three had garnered them the title. All three of these series were running in the weekly Shonen Jump, which during the 2000s was selling millions of copies each week. And when those reader surveys came back, One Piece, Naruto, and Bleach were almost always at the top, meaning fans were on their toes waiting for new chapters. By the mid-2000s, One Piece had surpassed 100 million copies sold. Naruto had 60 million, and Bleach was closing in on 30 million. These three together completely overshadowed most of the other manga running at the time. This dominance, of course, wasn't just in print, as their respective animes turned them from domestic powerhouses to global phenomenon. Unlike animes of today, these anime had very different release structures. Since these shows premiered on television channels instead of streaming services, instead of multiple parts, yearly drops, or long waits between episodes, all of these series were long-running weekly anime. Hype didn't have to build up for these anime just to die down 3 months later when all episodes had aired and fans had to wait another year. With hundreds of weekly episodes with little pause, fans always had something to look forward to. This consistency from the three stood for almost a decade. As I touched on briefly earlier, all three of these IPs had unique characteristics that made them stand out, which is a rarity, especially when looking at today's heavily saturated anime market. You could be a fan of every one of the big three animes and still get something different out of each one. You weren't just watching One Piece 3 times over. From One Piece's massive world building and long-form adventures, to Naruto's emotional rivalries and character relationships, to Bleach's dark aesthetic with stylish fights and memorable designs, this allowed all three to coexist at the top without cannibalizing each other's audiences. As we continue the discussion of the mid to late 2000s, we can also look at how the discussion methods around those anime changed. Forums, early anime websites, and convention panels surged in popularity across the board. From which characters are the strongest, to which series is the best, to which fights were more iconic, it was easier than ever to find like-minded individuals willing to have those chats with you. For nearly a decade, if you are watching, discussing, or just a fan of anime, it's likely you are interacting with at least one of the big three. For all these reasons, manga success, anime domination, and pretty great timing honestly, these three anime garnered and held on to the title of anime's Big Three. Now as they say, all good things must come to an end. And for as good as the Big Three's reign was, that just set them up for their inevitable deaths. Come 2014, Kishimoto ended the Naruto manga after 15 years. 2016, Kubo ended Bleach. Now yes, Oda is still going strong with One Piece, but there are a lot more reasons than just manga or anime endings that led to the fall of these big three. As much as anime changed in the 2000s to benefit the big three, the opposite can be said for the decade that followed. The industry standard moved from TV airings with weekly episodes and little pause, to streaming services with seasonal drops and long breaks. The streaming era had hit. Despite how many people have negative views of streaming services themselves, I'll never forgive you, Netflix. The start of this era was a major positive for anime. Instead of only being able to watch a few select anime on a few select channels chosen by TV executive boards, more anime than ever was available for consumers. Wanted to watch a dub? How about a sub? It was all now available. Whereas yes, the trade-off was less episodes and less hype due to breaks in between said episodes, we got a lot of higher quality episodes, a larger quantity of anime, and better working conditions, I said better, not perfect, for the animators. On top of this, as One Piece, Naruto, and Bleach had done in the absence of their ancestors, there was a whole new crop of anime ready to follow in the Big Three's footsteps. As popular as anime was globally, now thanks to the work of the Big Three, a plethora of modern-day giants sprung up to fill those voids. Animes like Attack on Titan had similar dark undertones to Bleach. Animes like My Hero Academia had a similar powerless underdog to world-saving main character structure of Naruto. Animes like Jujutsu Kaisen had a wide array of interesting and unique powers and characters similar to One Piece. And let me reiterate again, influence is a great thing. As long as new age authors take their own spin, and don't outright copy characters like Black Clover does, it allows new stories to be told and keeps the genre fresh and thriving. Now for as sad as death sounds, it has a happy ending in our story. The Big Three is dead, but what's not dead is their legacy, their impact, as well as their influence on anime that has yet to come. A Big Three will never happen again, and that is a great thing. But why? Well, anime is far too popular for just three. From One Punch Man to Demon Slayer to Tokyo Ghoul to Sword Art Online to Chainsaw Man to Frieren to Haiku and many, many others, there are almost too many to choose from. This, alongside anime's current worldwide reach, means that it's impossible for any three anime to dominate as the Big Three once did. Well, what do you think? If there was a Big Three of today, what anime would be in it? Let me know what you think in the comments down below. And hey, while you're down there, subscribe, leave a like. I'm trying to hit 1,000 subscribers, and I cannot do it without your help. Let YouTube know you enjoyed this video by doing so. Thank you for watching.